This episode will make you feel all fuzzy inside, just like you curled up next to Alex Trebek's mustache. It's an entire episode of Jeopardy from the late 90s. This is Trivia with Buds. And welcome to another episode of the Trivia with Buds podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Buds. Thanks for checking out this show today, putting it in your ears and playing along. Today we have a really fun episode for you. It is an entire episode of Jeopardy. So I'm going to read all the questions from an episode of Jeopardy in 1999. Specifically, it's from, let's see, it tells me right here, Thursday, July 15th, 1999. So almost exactly 19 years ago, if I know math. I think that is the math that I know. And this will be a fun one. If you like the show, you can kind of play along. You can answer in the form of a question if you want, all that kind of stuff. And Jeopardy's going to Hulu. They just announced it's the first game show to have an exclusive deal with Hulu. So that'll be kind of cool because it is on ABC and Hulu has a ton of ABC shows. So that'll be fun. If you like Jeopardy, you can catch it all the time on Hulu now. And I think it's already on there. And they added like 30 episodes of 30 of the best episodes or battles or college episodes and things like that. So go check that out. If you have Hulu, that is good news for trivia fans. I find a lot of questions for my trivia nights on the website that I'm going to read from today. It's called j-archive.com, which is the Jeopardy archive. People that like the show must kind of document all the questions that they ask on the show each and every day, and they kind of put them on this website. So they're great for confidence rounds, which I close my trivia nights out with, and it's great for just coming up with 10 totally random questions that are a little bit tougher. I go towards the higher dollar valued questions, and that's where I get those from. So this jarchive.com, if you want to check it out, it started in 1985, which I think is when the show first got super popular, and it goes all the way up until now, if you want to check it out. Speaking of stuff you want to check out, you want to go over on Facebook and check out my marketplace. I'm selling all kinds of stuff. We're trying to pay off a bunch of debt on a dumb credit card right now. And I've been selling all kinds of stuff. I just sold a PlayStation 3 today and 15 games for $100. It was just sitting there, haven't touched it in years. So I thought, why not sell this? And what was really cool about that is I met this lady and her husband in a parking lot, a Best Buy parking lot, and she had been to one of my trivia nights before, and she has friends that go to a place called The Rendezvous in Covina, California, where I used to host. And as we got to talking, the husband runs a bar called The Wheel in Glendora, Azusa, California area. And they want to try like a monthly trivia night. So it was cool. He gave me like a big spiel on how they had somebody come in. There's a lot of trivia companies that they want you to do like 16 weeks and pay for it up front, which to me is insane. Especially if you're like a bar that's trying to get people into your location and you want to spend a little bit of money to do that. But they're like, yeah, why don't you give us like $3,000? And even if it doesn't go well, you have to give us $3,000. I just think that's kind of nuts. So if I could always be the company that's doing the opposite of that, hopefully I keep getting some fun gigs. But I'm looking forward to getting started there in the next few months or so. I'm going to stop in this weekend and talk to my new pal Derek and see what we can do. But if you want to buy some stuff from me on Facebook, here's some stuff that I am highlighting. I have an Audio Strider 990 elliptical stepping type machine. That's $200, and I'm actually listing that for my friend Sean. So if you want that, you live in Southern California, you do have to pick it up. We don't have a truck to deliver it, but that's in the Covina, California area. And then the rest of the stuff's at my house in Laverne. I have Mario and the Rabbids Kingdom Battle for Nintendo Switch. That's a $50 game. I'm looking for $32 for it. I played it a few times, just not for me. I have an Adventure Time Finn riding Jake poster from Mondo, and it's numbered for authenticity. That's for $50. I think I paid $75 for that about 5, 6, 7 years ago, and it is a really cool poster if you like Mondo collectibles and Adventure Time. I have a Batman the Animated Series set, which is very cool. It is the complete DVD set of Batman the Animated Series, and it is signed by the voice of Batman himself, Kevin Conroy. That is $130. I just dropped the price on that a little bit if you are into that kind of collectibles in the Batman realm. And I have 2 Coleman camping cots. They are $40 each, or you can take both of them for $70. Check out all these great items over at Facebook or message me. Send me an email, ryanbuds@gmail.com. Mention hearing these products on the podcast, and you can get a special discount on each item ryanbuds@gmail.com if you need some stuff. All right, feel free to answer in the form of a question on these Jeopardy questions. I'll do each of the 5 questions for the category. You'll hear a sound effect, and then we'll do the answers for that category and move on to the next one. And there's going to be quite a few questions on this episode, just like you'd be watching Jeopardy. So it's time to jump back into 1999 with this whole episode of Alex Trebek and 3 contestants playing Jeopardy. Here we go. All right, here we go. We're going to start into the first category. This is show number 3439 from Thursday, July 15th, 1999. The contestants were Linda Lannon, a Defense Department analyst from Baltimore, Maryland, Vic Chandhok, a mediator from New Orleans, Louisiana, and Tom Crawford, a graduate student from Chicago, Illinois, whose one-day cash winnings was a total of $6,000. If you were interested in the contestants, here are the questions. The first category is called Name That Novel. I'll give you a little quote or passage, and you tell me what novel we're talking about. Here we go. $100 question, name that novel. And this is what ye have shipped for, men, to chase that white whale on both sides of the land. That's your first question. Here comes the $200 question. Joe was the first to awake in the gray dawn of Christmas morning. Your $300 question for name that novel. Number 1, whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy. Number 2, whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend. Here's the $400 question for name that novel. Lenny held his closed hand away from George's direction. It's only a mouse, George. And the $500 question. Phoebe Pynchon slept in a chamber that looked down on the garden of the old house. All right, here's a quick sound effect, and we'll go over those answers for Name the Novel. All right, name the novel for $100, and this is what ye have shipped for, men, to chase that white whale on both sides of land. That was, of course, Moby Dick. Moby Dick for name that novel. The $200 question, Joe was the first to awake in the gray dawn of Christmas morning. Little Women. I've never read that, so I would not have gotten that one. Here's the $300 question. Number 1, whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy. Number 2, whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend. That was Animal Farm. I actually love that book, and the weird TNT movie they made with Kelsey Grammer as the voice of one of the pigs. And Animal Farm. George Orwell, pretty great. The $400 question, Lenny held his closed hand away from George's direction. It's only a mouse, George. That was of Mice and Men. John Malkovich and Gary Sinise in the movie, if you've seen the best version of the movie. And the $500 question, I definitely would not have gotten this one. Phoebe Pynchon slept in a chamber that looked down on the garden of the old house, was House of the Seven Gables. That was a triple stumper, as according to jarchive.com. Nobody got that one. House of the Seven Gables. All right, we're going to move on to the next category right now. This next category is 10 CDs for a penny. 10 CDs for a penny. So it's going to be asking you different questions about music-related things. 10 CDs for a penny. And let's see if you can figure out these music-related Jeopardy questions. Here's the $100 questions, 10 CDs for a penny. For my aunt, I got Julio Iglesias's Tango, and this artist's Old Blue Eyes is back. That was the $100 question. The $200 question, my first 2 choices were both by her, Simply the Best and Private Dancer. $300 question, to round out my date book, I got Prince's 1999 and this group's 1984, but not their 5150. The $400 question, I bought this Beatles Dark Horse and Ravi Shankar's In Celebration, which he co-produced. And the $500 question, I chose 2 from this group, number 2, like 1-1, and Cooley High Harmony. All right, those are your questions for 10 CDs for a penny. Here's a sound effect, and we'll go over the answers. All right, the $100 question. For my aunt, I got Julio Iglesias' Tango, and this artist's Old Blue Eyes is back. The answer was Frank Sinatra. Old Blue Eyes was the big clue there. Frank Sinatra, the $100 question for 10 CDs for a penny. $200 question. My first 2 choices were both by her, Simply the Best and Private Dancer. That was Tina Turner. Tina Turner. The $300 question to round out my date book, I got Prince's 1999 and this group's 1984, but not their 5150. The answer was Van Halen. That was the only one I think I would have got of these. Maybe the next one. The $400 question, I bought this Beatles Dark Horse and Ravi Shankar's In Celebration, which he co-produced. That was George Harrison. And the $500 question, I chose two from this group, the number 2 and Cooley High Harmony, Boys to Men. All right, those were your questions and answers for 10 CDs for a penny. Moving on to the third category in this all Jeopardy episode. All right, this one is called A Few Good Men. Few Good Men, looking for a lot of different people that are all men. Okay, so different American icons, I believe, that are all men, all male. Here is the first question for $100. This general announced the end of the Revolutionary War and disbanded the army in Newburgh, New York. It is a $100 question, looking for a man's name. The $200 question, the farad, a unit of electric capacity, was named for this scientist. The farad, or farad, F-A-R-A-D, a unit of electric capacity, was named for this scientist. I don't think I do good on this show. I can barely read the questions. For $300, in 1987, this outfielder for the Kansas City Royals was also a running back for the Los Angeles Raiders. $300 question. And the $400 question. As an Illinois congressman, he introduced spot resolutions attacking Polk for starting the Mexican War. And the $500 question. This pop artist created 1958's Three Flags, a triple portrait of the American flag. Tough $500 question. All right, here's a quick sound effect and the answers for A Few Good Men. All right, here we go. A $100 question. This general announced the end of the Revolutionary War and disbanded the army in Newburgh, New York. That was George Washington. George Washington. For $200, the farad, a unit of electric capacity, was named for this scientist, Michael Faraday. Michael Faraday. For $300, we had in 1987, this outfielder for the Kansas City Royals was also a running back for the Los Angeles Raiders, Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson. For $400, a Illinois congressman who introduced spot resolutions attacking Polk for starting the Mexican War, we had Abraham Lincoln. Abe Lincoln, Honest Abe, from my home state of Illinois. And for $500, this pop artist created the 1958's Three Flags, a triple portrait of the American flag, Jasper Johns. Jasper Johns. Once again, I think I would have gotten one right of that whole category. So let's see how you do on the next one. All right, this next category is called Fade to Black. All the answers contain the word, not just the word black, but they're all about black things, okay? So Fade to Black for $100. This German region stretches between Karlsruhe and Basel. This German region stretches between Karlsruhe and Basel. B-A-S-E-L. For $200, Cygnus X1 offers scientists the best evidence of this stellar phenomenon. Remember, we're talking Fade to Black. $200. The $300 question, Hoot Man. This breed of homeless cattle bears the name of a Scottish county where it originated. I'd do terrible on this round. For $400, a member of the cobra family, this highly venomous African reptile is actually dark brown or gray most of its life. And for $500, the pigeon and blood tribes are constituent parts of this Native American nation found in Montana and Alberta. All right, here is a quick sound effect and the answers to Fade to Black. For $100, we had this German region stretches between Karlsruhe and Basel. This is the Black Forest. And I would have faded to black on the very first question of this. I would not have gotten any of these by a long shot. For $200, Cygnus X1 offers scientists the best evidence of this stellar phenomenon, a black hole. Black hole, that makes sense now, reading it out loud with the answer. For $300, Hoot Man. This breed of homeless cattle bears the name of a Scottish county where it originated. That was Angus, like Black Angus. And for $400, a member of the cobra family, the highly venomous African reptile is actually dark brown or gray most of its life. A black mamba, like in Kill Bill, black mamba. And for $500, the Pigeon or Pygon and blood tribes are constituent parts of the Native American nation found in Montana and Alberta. Blackfeet. Blackfeet was your answer there for $500. Let's jump into our next category right now. All right, this category is called If the Shoe Fits. If the Shoe Fits. They all have something to do with shoes or footwear. Let's see how you do on this one. For $100, a type of sandal with a strip of material between the toes or the strip of material itself. $100 question. $200 question. This name for a shoe that makes a man look taller is a brand sold by the Richley Shoe Company. For $300, it's a shoe with an often wooden sole worn in the dance of the same name. $300 question. The $400 question, equestrian name for the shoes seen here. And this is an example of a question where they would show a picture. I'll just give you a hint instead. It has something to do with a horse, and you probably knew that from equestrian. So guess the horse-related shoe name for $400. The $500 question, pointed shoes called winkle pickers were worn by these rebellious British boys of the 50s. Never heard of this. Let's see how you did on those quick questions right now. The answers to If the Shoe Fits for $100. What is the sandal with a strip of material between the toes or the strip of material itself? I was looking for thong. Thong. $200 question. Elevator shoes was the answer. This is the name for the shoe that makes a man look taller, and it's a brand sold by the Richley Shoe Company. Elevator shoes. $300. It's a shoe with an often wooden sole worn in the dance of the same name. Clog. Clog is correct. The $400 question, equestrian name for the shoes seen here, saddle shoes. Saddle shoes. And the $500 question, pointed shoes called winkle pickers were worn by these rebellious British boys of the 50s. They were called the Teddy Boys, and that was a triple stumper. Nobody got that one, the Teddy Boys. All right, this is the last question of the 6 in the first round of Jeopardy. We'll go into Double Jeopardy right after this. This is the last question. It's called Where Is It? We're looking for different locations for all your answers here. Where is it? $100. It's the state capital of the Alabama River. The $200 question. It's the Gulf about 50 miles from Hanoi. Maybe Hanol. 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 It's the Gulf about 50 miles from Hanol. The $300 question, it's roughly 25 miles northeast of Majorca. Maybe Majorca? I'd be terrible as Alex Trebek. And the $400 question, it's the country immediately west of Kenya and immediately north of Lake Victoria. And the $500 question, this was the daily double for this episode, for this first round of Jeopardy. It says Cowect, Cowwect. It's the Isle south of Southampton. All right, those were impossible to me. Let's see how you did. Here are the answers to Where Is It? Okay, where is it for $100? It's the state capital of the Alabama River, Montgomery. Montgomery. The $200 question. It's the Gulf about 50 miles from Hanel, and that is Gulf of Tonkin. Gulf of Tonkin. The $300 question. It's roughly 25 miles northeast of Majorca or Mahorca. It is Minorca, Minorca. That was a triple stumper. Nobody got it on the show back in 99. The $400 question, it's the country immediately west of Kenya and immediately north of Lake Victoria. That's Uganda. And the daily double, Cowect, Cowwect. It's the Isle south of Southampton. It's the Isle of Wight, Wight. And that was the daily double. that you could have scored some big points on if you were on the show. All right, we're going to take a quick little break here, and we'll come back with the questions and answers for Double Jeopardy. All right, we are back with the answers and more questions for Double Jeopardy. This is the second half of a full episode of Jeopardy from 1999. The categories are fun on this one: theater, game shows, 19th century women, flags of the world, John, and animal words. Let's jump into the first one. This is the $200 question for theater.